Namo Tassa. I want to make this video more for some Asian cultures and the people who mean to be Buddhist, and more specifically because lately I meet more and more people, of course, and some younger people, and they express certain feelings of some kind of confusion or discomfort, exactly because of how they feel inside and what they really feel as being Dhamma, and then the relationship with others, or more specifically the family and the parents. So I would like to express some take on that aspect, which I understand fully compared to the culture where they come from. And I will have to make a few points that might be also not comfortable or a bit shocking to some, but that's exactly the point. Just to clarify what is happening and ultimately what should be your choice, because it's about priorities in life, especially if you decide to become a Dharma person. So you have to understand the broader picture. What happens basically in your culture through the education. So the early education is from your parents, of course, always, and at home, and then the school system itself, and then the different authorities around, but they all are part of a culture, basically. And that's where it all starts like this. So as culture, as education, understand that this actually means conditioning. So I'm not sure if this will be translated correctly, because that's a word that I find often not properly translated into Myanmar language. So conditioning is the same in that sense like brainwashing or formatting. Basically, that culture that you are born in will make everything to format your mind in a certain way, with certain values and certain rules. And you are expected to follow those rules because they are meant to make you a good, obedient subject to the leaders, to become a good citizen, and a good example for the country. But this is made by the leaders of that country. That's why it's called a culture, and that's why it is different from country to country. And in some areas of the world, the culture are very, very different. Some values are very different. and some actually are opposite values. And basically something that are considered good, right, to do or correct in another country, they will be the opposite. They will be considered bad or offensive, disrespectful. So that shows again that this is all artificial, and it's made up by some people, leaders, exactly because they just want to have control over a big group of other people. They enjoy the power and they create the rules. They think they know what is right or wrong in each country. Each leader, each government think that they know what is right or wrong for the people. But again, you see it's very different from country to country or different part. Anyway, and all of this basically, as I've explained also before in different ways, different videos, this is always the same agenda, as I said, to make you follow, a good follower, a good sheep, as we say, in a bad image. Good sheep to follow blindly, ideally. So you can repeat again blindly. And that's what your parents will do if they don't have strong Dhamma, strong mind. They only repeat what their parents told them, what their grandparents told them, and the same because of the rules of the culture. And they just do that. And they want to make you follow the same way. That's exactly how the cultural psychology works. And of course, all of this is basically the opposite of freedom. Then you're not free at all. Sometimes they want to give you the illusion that you have a little bit of freedom, but you don't. And so yeah, this is the opposite of freedom, which means that actually this is the opposite of the Dharma, ultimately, the teaching of the Buddha. The Buddha was teaching you the way out of suffering, which is the way into ultimate freedom. Freedom of the mind means no more conditioning, the unconditioned, which is Nibbana. Of course, this is the ultimate way. I can give also an example of in Thailand, for example, there was a famous encounter exactly between a very famous monk, Arhat, and the Minister of Economy. And basically, of course, the Minister of Economy says to the monk, the great monk, what do you teach people? Your teachings, they go against my interest, meaning the same like it goes against my economic interest of the country. You see already exactly the opposite path. Because a true Buddhist should enjoy a simple lifestyle and they just use what they need and they are happy with that and they have no greed. And of course this society, this human society that way, and the government, they want a good economy. They want the money, the power, like that. So they want greedy people. They want you to develop the greed in your mind, lobha, to make good consumers, so that you will buy more things. And of course, even all the things that you don't need, but you develop the greed of wanting more and more to make you feel like rich, like abundance. But of course, it's a very illusional idea of abundance. And at the end, it will bring only more suffering, exactly because it goes with lobha, moha lobha. So that is kind of the general idea around the culture, right? Understand that part, that everything is made to condition your mind since you are young. And most of the people, so most of the parents, especially in Asian culture, they want to just follow, be a good citizen, and they just repeat the same to their own children. Also, there is a part which is not good also from the parent aspect in those culture. Again, with the same values that they teach you, that you should respect, of course, your parents so much, and you should really take care of them, so especially when you get older, because it's out of gratitude that they brought you to life, they gave you life, and they took care of you when you were young. Then you should be grateful and reward them later on by taking care of them. But actually, again, in those cultures, many people decide to have children not actually because they really want children, not because they feel strongly inside that they want to be parents and take good care of children or give this opportunity of a human life, but they only think about somebody that will take care of them when they get older. And this is also already twisted. That's not the good intention. That's not a good start to have children. And that would explain why we have so many situations when you see the parents are actually very hard on the children and not so respectful, because they have actually children just out of interest, again, personal interest, for somebody to take care of them when they get older. It's not a good base to have children in a way of taking care. So there are kind of two sides of that, and in one way, so these cultures, they mean to be Buddhist, and they consider that they have those values from the Dhamma originally and from Buddhism. That's why they say they are Buddhist cultures, and they think they are good principle. But again, typically in that situation, like in many situations, and as I've explained before, there was the original person and the founder and the original ways, the teachings, and then after centuries and centuries, so many people took over the leadership, and they of course think that they understand, they know, but they are not perfect, and then they start to twist around and change the rules. And ultimately, of course, the ego is always so strong, atta, big atta, and it's always very compelling to gain some power. When you start that you can have some power over some people, many times people cannot resist to start to become very narcissistic, we say in English, very self-centered, for self-interest, and they start to change the rules so that they can control more, and they make sure that the people will follow and it stay the same, so the people cannot become more independent. And again, understand the meaning around that. So you can call yourself a Buddhist, and again, not because you chose actually, just because you were born in that country and they told you, okay, you are born in this country, this is a Buddhist culture, so you are Buddhist. Did you choose it? No. So in that sense, Buddhism has become also an organized religion, indeed, just like many others. And in that sense, that's exactly like a controlling tool, a controlling system to condition the mind of the people. And when it works well, like it becomes exactly strong organized religion, like in these cultures, then the people just repeat blindly. They want to be a good Buddhist. That's the way they were raised. That's the way they were educated. So they just repeat the same as they are told. But then you don't understand, maybe, you have to understand this process. Again, it's a very artificial, man-made process. It's made up. So, exactly like it is known for any religion, Buddha was not a Buddhist. Buddha was not following any Buddhism and Buddhist rules or Buddhist religion, exactly because it was a religious system that was created after him. That's why it was called Buddhism, because he was a Buddha. So the Buddha was teaching the freedom of mind and freedom from suffering, freedom from conditioning of the mind, so your mind can become free. As I meant before, after, with time, more and more people use these teachings in a clever way, because they have charisma, to control more people. And that's how Buddhism become an organized religion. And at the same time, you get a culture with rules and values based on that for the country, for the people of that country. Again, it is artificial. Some people create that. It is not natural. So the Buddha actually was not a Buddhist, of course. He was teaching the Dhamma, exactly. The proper Dhamma, non-sectarian, but as the universal laws of nature. Just the way life is, just the laws of nature. Then you would, if you can look objectively, you can start to detach from your culture, take distance and look objectively. You will see that most of the time the cultures, they go against nature and the natural ways. Exactly, they brainwash you against nature and natural way, because the natural way would be to be happy in harmony with the law of nature, with the nature itself. But to control a big group of people, you have to break this capacity, and they cannot be free in the mind. So you start to create the rules so that they can follow these rules to be controlled. And of course, this is not natural. That goes against the natural ways, and that's why there is so much suffering and so much confusion in many people's mind. So you need to learn to detach, really, from that cultural brainwashing to become free and to live in harmony with nature. And that's why, of course, there is quote from Rumi that says that the highest form of learning, the really worthy learning, is to unlearn. And often this doesn't translate properly, but it means you uneducate yourself from the system. The system has an education way to make you think a certain way, like this, and your mind become like this, like a box. So if you want to understand life, and if you feel inside you that you have this strong appeal from the natural ways, the Dharma, and that life should be different, then you have to forget what they teach you like this with values in your culture, and you have to be open to a new way of thinking. So you have to understand exactly what the process is about. What means conditioning? Again, many times not translated properly in a Myanmar language. The conditioning of the mind is like the formatting of the mind. But it is similar to samkara. Everything creates samkara, right? Cause and consequence, samkaras. And for example, again, understand that many in those cultures have a strong pride to be Burmese, pride to be Buddhist, but pride is not a good value. Pride goes with big atta, again, and it is created in you. It's not natural. So regarding to Dhamma, the pride is really not helpful and not a good value. It's also with dosa, lobha, dosa, moha dosa. So you have been educated to be proud, to be this or that, but these things you didn't choose. So this is your big atta, and it's not positive Dhamma, of course. Dhamma wants to teach you about anatta, but the culture wants to develop in you the big atta, the big Burmese atta, for example, with pride. Understand that when you were born, you didn't choose your name. You didn't choose your country, nationality. You didn't choose your religion. These things, they were given to you. It's like you didn't have the choice, and they forced this on you already when you were born. And that is exactly the conditioning, the formatting, brainwashing, to create that identity, but it's a fake identity. It's made up again. It's artificial. It's not the real you. It's not your real nature. And it's the opposite of freedom, of being a free being. And that's connected to that culture, cultural values. And that's why afterwards you have all those problems or the suffering, because it goes against nature. This is like to create a mental cage, right? You think you are free to do something, but already you have values in your mind since you were young, and you feel, oh, I can do this, but I cannot do that. This is good, this is bad. They told me like this. But you don't investigate yourself. You don't really know the real reason why. So at the end, you only know this little world, like a narrow world. So that's why the best way to open the mind towards freedom is to be able to unlearn, to uneducate yourself from that kind of values, from the conditioning. Because this came from the outside, right? This came from other people, and your parents told you to be like this. So the process exactly would be to move from being conditioned, formatted like this, to the unconditioned, to real freedom, mental freedom. And that's exactly the point of the Buddha's teaching. That's the Dhamma. The Dhamma is to teach you to become really free. But the majority of the people, they don't have the proper understanding, they don't have the strong mind and strong Dhamma. And when you are like this, it is in psychology, and that's why the government, the leaders, they use that, because it's the sheep mentality, right? Like the sheep, the animal. So people who are like this, they are well conditioned, then they want everybody else to be the same. So that's why they will transfer this brainwashing to other people around and to their children. And so that they want to keep everybody in the same mental prison. That's why they really like to tell you, this is right, this is wrong, to control you. And if you have the mind that knows that this is not correct, and freedom is better, and if you can become more free, then these people will become jealous of you. So that becomes the point for the leaders of a country, of government, and the same down the line to your parents, to control like this, to control others. And that's why you have to understand that maybe your parents mean to be Buddhist or not, or they maybe think they know Dhamma or not, but when they behave like this towards you, and then they actually unconsciously many times, they can become jealous to see you become very strong in Dhamma and more free, because they don't know how to do that. They just like to follow the rules blindly. And that's the other main point. So that it doesn't mean that you don't respect your parents or that you don't care about them when you think differently. Actually, you care about them, of course, even if you detach. But maybe some of you, and typically when some meet me and like to talk about Dhamma with me, and then they start to talk about this difference with their parents, that's what I explained, that's the point. You have to understand that, yes, in your culture they teach you, and your parents, you have to be grateful for them. They gave you birth like this, they took care of you for being a human and get education or grow up. But then understand that there are separate people, so they have separate karma, so you can have very different parami, and very different parami level, very different Dhamma level, and Dhamma understanding inside. So as a child of your parents, and even if you are still, of course, much younger, you can have much better parami and stronger Dhamma inside you already from before, from your karma, and your parents will never have so strong Dhamma, so good paramis. So that's why they follow more blindly. Their mind is more simple to follow, but you already inside, you feel something else, something stronger, and exactly about nature, life, like this, everything bigger. Then you have to understand that this is actually the priority. Dhamma is your priority. If you have strong feeling about Dhamma inside, that should become your priority. And then afterwards, when you become a real Dhamma person and very strong and more aware, then actually you will know how to come back with your parents, how to connect with them, how to exchange with them. So you have to be okay to disconnect, to take distance from your parents. And emotionally, the culture, the rules tell you they are your parents, you must obey them, you must listen to your parents, everything. But it's not like this actually. That's not the reality. This is only a system to control other people. But understand that maybe you as a person, you have a better, stronger Dhamma and stronger parami than your parents. Then it will be different anyway. And then you accept that. So it's okay to take distance, to not have this emotional connection with your parents. Of course, emotions are also part of moha, lobha, dosa. But the Dhamma teaching get you less and less emotion like this. When you are controlled by emotions, you don't make wise decision, and that's why the system controls you through emotion. Like this, the culture tells you are Burmese, you should be proud of being Burmese, or you should be proud and you should do this and this, but with emotion. That's how they control you. So you must accept that difference and be okay with it. And yes, in that situation, maybe I'm not popular with parents, but I respect the people who have strong Dhamma. And then if you have very strong Dhamma inside you, then it becomes a priority, and it will be good for your life, and after it can become positive to give back to your parents anyway, one way or the other. So that's the point. They don't have the capacity to walk towards freedom of mind, but you have inside you, then you should make the priority of Dhamma path, because you have the capacity to go towards freedom. And of course, you may know the example of Kemaranti, who was in a situation really going really against the cultural norms and the parents' expectation, of course, with what she did, She, as a woman and a mother, she abandoned husband and child, not 1 year old, to become real Dhamma person. So she knows inside. And after, still everything is positive. And of course the Buddha story, also, is the same. And as I said before, and it's very clear, again, understand, the Buddha would never become a Buddha if he followed the rules of his culture, the expectation of his parents, Of course, the king, his father, did everything to keep the Buddha in the palace, to want to become king. But the Buddha had a strong Dhamma inside that tell him this is wrong, the truth is different outside. So he ran away from the family. So he break the rules of his culture, and completely doesn't listen to his parents, to do the opposite. But he become a Buddha like this, exactly for that reason. So understand, cultural rules, cultural values, brainwashing from your parents telling you like this is not the real thing, it's not truth, because it comes from them, only to control. And if you have very strong Dhamma inside you and you understand this is wrong, follow this inside and become free. And after, it comes back in very positive way, because you are a true Dhamma person.